Hello, and welcome to the June Outturn Podcast. I don't want to blow my own trumpet, but I think I've picked some really nice drams today.
I think the Whisky team have done an excellent job in
Oh yeah, the Whisky team do play an important part.
New make often gets like a bad rap. It's always just like, oh, we'll try the whiskey. It's like, new make, it's good fun.
Where's your favourite place to take your head blast?
I think Monroe's, like I think it's everyone usually has a wee dram at the top of Monroe.
Tastes so much better, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I'm your host, Calum Lawson. Joining me today, my co-host. Would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Duncan Gorman back again for another episode.
Okay, and you're back on this side of the camera again?
Back on this side, as terrifying as it is, I'm much more comfortable on the other side.
It's easy over there. And our special guest today, we have, would you like to introduce yourself as well?
Hi, I'm Logan Shaw. I work here at 28 Queen Street. I'm the assistant venue manager, and we're currently in the Spirit Safe room to have a couple drams and a chat.
Yeah, you might have noticed that our location is a little bit different from where we usually are. And we've got Hawaiian shirts on. We're feeling very summery today. It is June. We're currently having a heat wave, hopefully.
I don't know how I got roped into this. I was the only one that didn't bring one today, and now Calum brought a spare for me. Of course he did.
You were a bit reluctant to wear the Hawaiian shirt.
I know. I thought... Well, usually we just let you do the silly things.
Are you not a Hawaiian shirt kind of guy?
And then we all kind of sit back and laugh at you doing the silly thing. And now that Richard's gone, Calum just seems to have infected everyone else with his silliness.
Well, I was thinking about Hawaiian shirts because it is summer here, but I know that Logan's actually a fan of Hawaiian shirts. I've seen him wearing Hawaiian shirts on many occasions.
With a kilt. The trick is you've got to pair it with a kilt. It looks so much better, honestly, yeah.
What tartan does your kilt have?
Shaw, so it's my own family tartan.
Does that go with every Hawaiian shirt? Is it
Yeah,
kind of
really does.
quite a general?
Like any what is coined as a shit shirt works particularly well with a kilt.
So then it's usually the staff party in January that you're...
It's usually a staff party, yeah.
Maybe next year I'll join you with...
I think you should,
yeah. What's your position here?
So I'm the assistant venue manager here. So I've been working in this role now for coming on 2 years. But prior to that, I've been in the venue now, I think I'm 4 years. And then I left and I worked here for less than a year in 2018, I think.
Okay.
And then came back again.
You
just can't get rid of me. Just can't get rid of me. I know.
You just loved it so much.
Well, it was COVID and I thought I'd try something new in COVID. Is that what happened? Unemployment, yeah.
That's a shame.
Ran out of whiskey, so I had to come back. But yeah, prior to that, I was in Speyside, so that's where I'm from. Worked for Glenfiddich, Balvenie, Caninvi.
What were you doing when you worked for this?
Was a tour guide whilst I was a student.
Oh, brilliant.
So I was studying in Edinburgh. Every summer I'd go back up and work at the distillery, which was great fun as a student. It's very low responsibility, lots of fun. And then I also dabbled in a couple of whiskey bars up in Speyside. So
you dabbled as in you worked there, or as in you went in and dabbled with all the
both,
whiskies?
Yeah.
A bit of both, I'm sure.
Yeah.
That's cool. And have you brought over much transferable skills from being a tour guide and then taking guests around this Victorian Elizabethan townhouse?
Georgian.
Third time lucky, eh?
Close enough.
Victorian, Georgian, whatever.
Actually, no, it was really difficult. I remember the first time I was doing a tasting and describing production, and I just kind of turned around naturally as if I was going to point at the stills, and I was like, Yeah. It's a lot easier to do a tour or do a tasting when you've got stills and something shiny for people to look at and touch, which they'll always do.
Exciting.
It's exciting. It's different. It's interesting, and you can kill a lot of time if it's a particularly
people
unlively,
just sit and stare at them.
Yeah. But suddenly you have to explain it to them without the use of some nice shiny hot stills. Which was difficult. I remember the first time it was difficult. But the best part is you don't just have to stick to one distillery. So back at Glenfiddich, I was only representing Glenfiddich, Balvenie, Caninvi. And here I've got everything.
And you probably knew those brands and everything about the distillery inside.
Oh,
out.
yeah.
Completely memorised, scripted, whatever.
Yeah.
And then it's a different kind of challenge when you come to society because, like you say, we have so many different distilleries, bottlings, 25 different releases every month, roughly.
It's crazy.
And it's very hard to keep track of, but that's the appeal of the society. Is the variety and the volume of whiskies that we have. Oh, we need glasses. This is great. I get the boss to go around.
I'm on it.
Bottle, go, glasses.
As opposed to...
Would you like to just read out the details for us?
Yeah, sure. So this is from Distillery 48. It is number 177. The name we've gone for is Memories of Holiday and Summer Strolls with Dad. It is 12 years old, ex-American bourbon barrel from Speyside at 59.3%. It's even weaker. You could actually use this one to dilute the first one.
Obviously, we've got Father's Day coming up this month, so this would be a perfect gift for your dad if you want to buy him a bottle of whiskey. I certainly would.
Are you hinting here? Is this,
well, I think my children are a bit young to be buying me. Maybe if my wife's watching, then she could buy me a bottle of this. I think I would love this. We've also got, where's that dram pack as well?
Servant.
So, while we're talking, yeah, this is great, guys. I'm enjoying this. So we've got our Father's Day flight here. Perfect gift for your daddy, your old dad.
Your father.
Put it on the side.
What distillery code's this? Sorry.
48.
48.
48.
So we see it every so often. It's not like
Not one of our regulars.
well, maybe not, but it's like a lot of the distilleries where we bottle. You know, it's primarily not that well known in its own right, but you know, typically used for the blends.
There's a fact I've always said about this distillery, which I won't name the distillery anymore, but I'm not actually even sure if this fact is true, but no one's ever questioned it, so I think it's true.
Well,
it's got the
must be true.
longest worm for any distillery in Scotland. I think maybe the UK or the world as well.
Longest worm.
I know it doesn't sound great.
Worm tub.
Worm in the worm tub.
Worm in the worm tub.
Yeah, 91 metres.
Yeah, well that's a pretty cool fact.
not
I don't
about
have
the
that down
size.
here. I need to add that. Give me a pen. Put that on there.
What will that do for the spirit then, Logan?
It just,
question.
I mean, worm tubs, they're interesting because they're inefficient.
Yeah, they're less effective.
Yeah. They're less effective than the modern ones.
It's basically old school, and
Yeah.
this distillery is known for its old school sort of techniques. It's got very small stills, it's got worm tubs, long fermentation, and if you think about how a worm tub condenser started, it was literally a puddle or a bucket, or a wee pond, and we're cooling the spirit through that. And
So does that make it more of like a complex whiskey?
Yeah, it can make it nice and, well, usually they sort of work quite well with sherry casks. Are quite weighty, lots of sulphur that still sort of comes through. And it tends to be a sort of love it or hate it. We get a lot of people who come in and ask for specific codes because they love the worm tub flavours.
Yeah.
Other people don't like that kind of intensity.
Yeah, it's a bit more robust, and yeah, like you said, it's so if it's more efficient condenser, like a modern condenser, then it's stripping out sulphur, much like some, depending on the shape of the still, will do the same thing as well, or more of the same. But so if it's less efficient, then you're getting more of those sulphury qualities, which end up coming more full-on robust flavors, during the down the line.
I used to work at Dalwhinnie back in the days as a tour guide, and they've
Have you told me this before?
I don't know.
Maybe you have. You're two tour guys.
I know,
here.
yeah.
You're surrounded.
And you're making us do the work as well.
I know. You always act like, I don't know too much about whiskey. You're a tour guide.
I'm trying to give you some insight here, and you're just talking
Sorry.
over me. Come on, host.
I apologise. Please continue.
And they have worm tub condensers, but I never really associate Dalwhinnie as having that kind of style of spirit.
Yeah, I think you're right. I'd agree. It is one of the worm tub. It's surprising to know because they are known for having a much better.
They're also known for putting their worm tubs in the wrong place. You normally hide them at the back of your
And they're at the
distillery,
front.
and they moved them. So they got rid of them. I can't remember 20-something years ago.
Yeah.
They got rid of them, replaced them with shell and tube for I think a couple of years, 7 years maybe, and then they realised it didn't taste good. So they turned them
had
back,
to change it back,
but they put them in the front of the distillery now.
Yeah.
I really want to try the whiskey that was made with the shell and tube condenser.
Yeah, I wonder.
Yeah. Well, here's to worm tubs. I think a lot of people get very excited about worm tubs. So let's try this whiskey and see if it matches our expectations. What are we thinking? We liking it? We enjoying it? What are we getting?
Kind of like dark berries. Straight away.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Kind of Turkish delighty.
Like blueberries, raspberries.
It really
that sort
is.
of thing.
It's really sugary sweet, but it's definitely dark fruit, as in more like the blackberry, blueberry kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really tasty.
What cask was this one, sorry?
The first of all, bourbon. Yeah.
Very good first 2 drams, I'd say.
Yeah.
Starters you mean to go on?
Yeah.
Very good gifts as well. There you go. Yeah.
Well, actually, yeah, I would. So yes, if you're watching, please get me one of these. Okay, shall we maybe move on to our next dram?
Sounds good. Are you about to click your fingers at us?
I could just click them and go, and then they just appear.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, thanks for mentioning. Yeah.
I'm happy to help. Actually, I was going to ask you about your sort of, how did you first get into whiskey? What's your first,
Ooh, that's it. There's.
So did you say you're from Dufton?
Yeah, I grew up just about 3 miles outside of Dufton. I went to primary school in Dufton and then high school in Aberdeen.
I pronounced it correctly. As soon as I said Dufton, I thought you were going to say, no, it's Dufftown. But
No. The trick is to un-anglicise the words
as much as possible.
as much as possible, yeah.
Okay. So what's it like growing up around there?
Lots of sheep.
Okay.
Take that as you will. Lots of whiskey. My first ever whiskey, actually. There's a picture that exists somewhere in the family photo book
for it.
of me at Hogmanay in Dufton of the year 2000. So I was 4 and a bit years old, nearly 5. Having my first whiskey. Having my first whiskey from my dad's hip flask. So there's a picture of me.
I love the segue.
It's crazy how these things happen. There's a picture of me that exists with my dad's hip flask in one hand, and then my mum gave me a Ferrero Rocher. I think the worrying part was I seem to enjoy the hip flask a little bit more, but it's my first. That was my first ever.
For the fine things from the start,
and whiskey. That's good.
I know.
I love that.
That was a good year.
Maybe with this one.
So you hip flask. The theme this month. You want to tell us a little bit about the theme this month, Duncan? You're a content kind of guy.
So no, the theme for this month is whiskey with a well-worn hip flask. We've all brought our own hip flasks here. I've got this trusty society hip flask, and there is a story behind it. It's because every time I go out with a hip flask, it gets lost. I'm so bad for just taking it out, because you're always on the move, aren't you?
Yeah.
And when there's a hip flask involved, it's easy to forget or be misplaced. So
yeah, I think it's great. And actually, this has only just been recently returned to me because I gave it to one of my friends, I think at a rugby game maybe a while ago. I brought one for myself, and I knew that they were sitting somewhere else, so I gave them, just to treat my pals. You know what I mean? I'm like, you take that with you, you enjoy it, and this was bought for me by my best man. It was a wedding gift, so it's got my initials on it. So it's
nice.
So I'm glad to get it back.
Yeah, definitely.
I've got a couple of hip flasks, I won't lie, but this is certainly my number one.
And I just actually found this one at home, so I don't actually know the origins of it. But
when you said found it, I thought you meant you found it here. Like,
no.
Like a member left it here.
No, but it's like I don't know how old
somebody
it is.
like tagging you in. I want
I want my hip flask. I saw it on the podcast.
That's mine.
But it's a cracking old hip flask. I don't know how old it is.
I've never seen one like that before.
I know.
Yeah, me neither.
And is it just?
It's just glass, leather.
Pretty cool.
It is.
Yeah, you can examine it.
That's it. It comes in the cup.
I didn't realise so you can just fill it up.
Yeah, I didn't make that connection at all.
That's great. Because I bought some. You can get like wee silver cups. Yeah. I bought them. But I think I probably lost those. But
well, I don't know if either of you were there at the end of the staff party when we were all leaving. Of course, I did not bring hip flasks to the staff
some
party.
things we can talk about.
Yeah, that's probably not one.
Well,
but
I was a bit worried about what he was going to say about the end of the staff party.
I did hypothetically have my trusty hip flask with me in my sporran with my Hawaiian shirt, and then as we were all leaving the venue, we were a couple of us standing outside deciding where we're going to go next. Pulled the hip flask out. I was like, well, I'll just finish the hip flask, might as well. Now the annoying thing is a bit like this. I think your screw like attached.
Yeah.
So just sort of unscrewed it and it just popped off and bounced quite beautifully into a drain.
So
then,
this exact one?
No, another one. Yeah. But I'm never I can't remember who was standing next to me now. But we all just watched this hip flask lid bounce into a drain. So we finished it then. Yeah.
You had to drink the whiskey. Yeah.
We're not animals, God. Yeah.
Very good.
Where's your favourite place to take your hip flask? Or have a hip
I think
flask
Monroe's.
dram?
Like I think it's quite. Everyone usually has a wee dram at the top of Monroe.
Tastes so much better, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's like a little reward. Yeah.
And you're enjoying the view.
Yeah.
I used to do quite a lot of Monroe bagging, but this is a wee while ago, maybe 10 years ago, and hadn't done anything like that for a while. And myself, Anthony from Society, and also Neil, one of the chefs at Bashi, we went and did a Monroe recently, and we stayed the night in a bothy.
Oh, they're good fun.
And the Monroe almost killed me. It was quite a tough one to do. Quite a long walk in. We had our bags from there as well. We didn't have a dram at the top. I guess we probably weren't feeling like it. It might have killed me if I had a dram. But we managed to get to the bothy and like
responsible.
Yeah,
responsible.
Yeah, I'm always responsible. But we got to the bothy about 8 o'clock at night.
Did you have it to yourselves?
There was a couple of guys in there.
Oh, nice. It's quite good when you've got company, I think.
Yeah. Well, you turn a bothy, you never really sure who's going to be there. But turned up and we had some hip flasks. Working in the society, we all had a wee bit of whiskey, and we shared it with these two guys, and it was great. Like, it's a completely dark wee room in the middle of nowhere, and it's certainly, I think I passed out in front of the fire. Not because I was drunk, because I was very tired. Hip flasks are great.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, so let's crack on to our next dram, which we've already poured it. It's been sitting waiting. It's been sitting waiting for us. We've been giving it a bit of time in the glass so that the air
letting it
raise.
You don't need to blow bubbles in your mouth.
Have you told us what whiskey
I've not. No.
Would you like to?
Yeah, go for it. So this is 8.48 and called Flamenco Dancers Coffee Break. It's 9 years old, another Speyside wee dram, and as a Speysider, I very much approve. First fill ex Pedro Jimenez or PX sherry butts and 59.2%. Quite a big outturn though. I mean, a big sherry cask. So we've got 636 bottles on this one.
Lovely.
Which is always good when you get plenty of a good whiskey to buy.
And this is a distillery that we hadn't seen for quite a few years until maybe a couple of years ago, and we released our first 8 in a wee while.
Yeah.
It was all very exciting, but it's really good to see that we're kind of regularly releasing bottles from Distillery number 8 because it's fantastic stuff. It's well known for full sherry maturation. I think since the 90s they started using full sherry maturation. It's just fantastic stuff. So let's have a wee nose, a wee sip, and tell me all about it.
Quite nutty straight away to me.
Yeah.
It's spicier than I thought it was going to be. With PX, it's a much sweeter style on sherry, but this is almost like, it's got elements of Oloroso there, that kind of nutty spiciness, but it's still got a nice sweet sort of coating.
Yeah, no, there's still, to me, there's still just a little bit of that classic like Christmas cake that you expect from that sort of cask.
But again, like the one we had before, I'm still getting those dark fruits, but almost like more berry style, that'll be the PX.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, fantastic.
I remember once I did a tasting actually here. It was in my back in my early days of the society. I once asked the old bar managers that it would be really good to do a tasting if we had all the same age of the whiskey in 3 different casks. So 1 bourbon, 1 sherry, or 2 different sherries.
Yeah.
And then John, the old bar manager, went away, asked Ewan, the head spirits god, whatever his title is these days, and he gave us 4 samples. They were all 3 years old, 3 and a bit, literally just over the legal minimum. One was the new make in an inert cask, so like a dead cask. It was still
like
pretty much
steel
new.
or
It was
something.
just new make. It just tasted of new make.
Yeah.
And the other was first fill bourbon for 3 years, first fill Oloroso for 3 years, and then first fill PX for 3 years. And that was, I think that is the longest tasting I've ever done. For 4 drams, we chatted for like 3 hours. It was, I think the spirit they've got there from this distillery is phenomenal. I think it can work with anything. But yeah, sherry is what it's known for.
That would have been such a fun tasting as well, seeing as it's usually just sherry that people recognise it for.
I think as well to try it with the spirit to actually have that comparison going along the whole way.
See the full journey of
just
it.
kept going back and back, and it was really good fun.
And then at least you can still see the influence that the spirits had. It's easy to kind of just get lost in the cask and kind of ignore what's happened in the distillery.
Yeah, and that's great when you try new make because it's a fantastic indication of like what they've achieved at that point. And then obviously when you're maturing it in a cask, and you're just sort of adding extra flavour. But if you don't have that initial base spirit, then you're not really working with much, are you?
No, and I think new make often gets like a bad rap. It's always just like, oh, we'll try the whiskey. It's like new make it's good fun.
Yeah, totally. I like sampling it. But
I know.
I know some people. I know some people that like to drink it. Yeah, they get that excited about it. But anything else from this?
Coffee,
yeah.
Cheat.
Oh yeah, let's go. I forgot about that. Yeah. And flamenco dancers.
Flamenco dancers, coffee break. Have you ever seen flamenco before?
No, not no.
Yeah.
You?
Yeah, I have actually.
Can you flamenco?
Listen.
I feel like this is now.
I don't even know what you do. Dun, 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 dun. That's about it. I think this whole table's going to fall off if I do that. I won't get up. Oh yeah, we did it. We had a trip to Jerez, and we went into a wee bar there, and they were doing a wee flamenco bar, and the other thing was great. It's just the intensity of like performance, like the guys on the guitar and the flamenco dancers. They are properly going for it. Like it's amazing.
We should maybe get you to do that before the podcast, just like burn out all your energy.
But then it'd be very boring if I did that and I didn't have any energy for you.
That's true.
Yeah. So it's described quite often as an oily spirit. Do you get a wee bit of oil? Like there's a nice mouthfeel to it. Smooth, but it's oily. Then you got this kind of you got the spicy edges and a little bit sweet as well.
Yeah, it does kind of cling around.
Great.
Oh.
So you enjoyed that one?
Yeah, no, that's good.
Yeah, beautiful.
Definitely.
You got a favourite so far?
I think probably the middle one.
The 48. I think that was my favourite as well. Normally I would have said this one, but maybe I'll come back to it. We'll see at the end.
Yeah.
I don't want to blow my own trumpet, but I think I picked some really nice drams today.
I think the Whisky team have done an excellent job in.
Oh yeah, the Whisky team do play an important part, but no, it's all them. I know. Okay, would you like to keep on going? Keep on trucking. Do your thing, boys.
36.
36. I haven't actually, I've got these lovely cards for my notes in them, but I haven't actually, well, that one's upside down, not very professional. There we go. Yeah, moving on to the next dram. We've had a couple of the 2-to-1s in the last couple outturns.
What's the 2-to-1 for people that don't know?
Basically, I guess there's 4 casks in the journey, but I'll describe this one, and then hopefully it makes sense. This one is 2 casks that have been moved into 2 different casks and then married together at the end. So ultra small batch, completely natural. There's absolutely no difference between this and like single cask whiskey, apart from it's been a much more interesting journey. The sum of the parts is greater than the whole. Is that the way around? Yeah. No.
I think you're.
Yeah.
Right.
We know what you mean.
Why not?
Sometimes I start talking and I go, well, how am I actually going to remember how to finish a sentence? This one's called Country House Complexity. I think complexity is obviously going to be an appropriate name for this because that's what we're going to expect, because we've got lots of different influences from different styles of wood. 36.230. It's 17 years old, but at 13 years old, it was 2 ex-bourbon hogshead. One was moved into a new American oak HTMC hogshead, and then the second was moved into a first fill American oak Oloroso hogshead. And then at the end, those 2 were married together, and that is what we have here, the final product.
They've been busy, haven't they? Jesus.
Ooh, it's hard to say, but think about the hard work that's been going into these.
Yeah.
So all we can do is pour it and sample it. And 17 years old is a good age.
Yeah, I was going to say.
We're getting on a bit now. There you go, young man.
Another heavy toast medium char as well.
Yeah,
We've been getting quite a few of those.
Yeah,
which is great because they are fantastic, and it's an SMWS sort of trademark. Shall we? Have we sampled then?
I mean, we're not
You weren't sure what I was going to say there. Okay, shall we?
I never know what you're going to say.
Okay. So it's going to be hard to sort of pinpoint where the flavour, because there's so many different influences. Like, you know, I could talk about one style of oak or you know, but it's complex, which is great. So let's just see what we're tasting from it, and then we can maybe work out which cask that comes from, or
see if we can figure it out.
Detective work. Yeah,
I like it.
It's 52.6%. So you know, I could tell on the nose that it wasn't quite as punchy, but as we know, over time the ABV goes down.
To me, that's quite buttery.
Yeah.
Maybe
I've never tasted
HTMC, maybe.
Yeah.
What do you think, Logan?
It's kind of surprisingly herbal, which I wasn't really expecting. It's like we kind of said, it's hard to pinpoint where exact flavors are coming from. There's a lot going on in the glass.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly I can definitely get the Oloroso, but you know, it's a bit unusual because it's American oak Oloroso, so normally you'd associate American oak with bourbon, but but I can get that hint of Oloroso in it, that sort of spicy, dark fruit, but then it's not overpowering.
Yeah, they're really throwing everything at us, aren't they?
Yeah, so it's still got...
It's also another worm tub distillery.
There you go.
I think,
it is. It's one of these unconventional space-side distilleries. Yeah. I can't tell you anything else about it because I don't have my notes in front of me. So.
Get a lot of vanilla on the nose.
Yeah.
It's quite a boring tasting note, but
I suppose the most standard
taste. Best I've got at the moment.
You could have rubbed some funk on it.
Yeah. No, but I mean, it is. I know what you mean, though, because vanilla is something that you probably think of American oak, bourbon, and you do get that, but it's like there's so many levels.
It's a bit more complex than that.
You get that, but then you also get a little bit of spiciness, maybe from the toasted casks. It is quite clean, but it's got a golden colour.
But again, it's also got that mouthfeel that we had.
It's got the mouthfeel,
It's really sticking
and it's
around.
got a wee bit of the spiciness at the end, and it's lingering. I'm still tasting it here. I mean, complexity it certainly is. Country house.
It is mouth coating, isn't it?
Lives in a house, a very big house in the country. No?
Can we have like a tally of podcasts that Calum's sung it?
Or just have an album.
The Outturn Podcast
Calum's greatest hits. Cool. So we like this?
Yeah.
Love it. It's just.
I think it's probably been my favourite to approach. Because there's so much going on.
You can just kind of sit and I could spend a long time just sitting and smelling.
I mean, all whiskey I think is best shared, and it's it's great to have a wee sample and then have a wee discussion with your friends. But like this, you could literally talk about this forever, couldn't you?
I don't think I've ever tried an American oak Oloroso either. That's new to me.
I think we've done a few recently. Yeah.
Because we talked about this. Was it last month? Trying to for a very long time, I just associated it as either like bourbon or sherry.
Yeah.
And I didn't look at the oak as well. And now I've realised, God,
Well,
it's actually, there's so much more
it can make your brain kind of melt a little bit because there's so many different influences, not only in the cask, but in the distillation process, you know. And you got to think of, I guess, in sort of general, simpler terms, because otherwise you just give yourself a headache, I think. And also, in the day, it's all about
sometimes it can take away from what's in the glass a little bit if you think about it too much.
So yeah, there you go. That's our 2 for 1 we picked out for you.
Oh yeah, that's a topper.
Definitely recommend. Have we got another one?
We do. Last one.
Let's do it.
You've not got up your arse this whole time.
I'll just sit here while these boys are hard at work. I did all the pre-work.
Or do you want to do the honourable mentions before we do the last one, Calum?
Let's do it. Saturday the 14th of June is World Gin Day. We've not brought any gin here to show off, but we've got 2 releases from GN 3.21 called Full of Life, and the other one is GN 7.3, an artist, an apothecary. I should always practice saying these words.
There's been a few tongue twisters today, actually.
What
was the first one we had? The cities.
Oh yeah. I always remember there was one. What was it? The 1983 collection.
Oh yeah.
I was doing the tasting for that.
Well, that's what the first time do, wasn't it?
Yeah, but the last whiskey was called Mellifluous Quince. And it was just like,
they do not make it easy for us, I'll tell you that, right? Okay, so what are we talking about? We've got 2 other whiskies here to show off. So if you want to pass them over, we'll have a wee look at them. So it's National Bourbon Day on the 14th of June. So we have got, have you seen much bourbon coming out recently?
Not too much, but it always goes down really well.
Yeah.
Actually, bourbon is one that goes down really well in hip flask.
Yeah, absolutely. This is 7 years old, so I guess that's quite old for a bourbon if you think about it, right? It's called Go West, Young Man. Go West, Young Man.
Okay.
It's from Tennessee, and this is a new charred oak barrel, which is what you'd expect from bourbon. New oak, heavily charred usually. Okay, and it's 64.3%. So if you want to try something different, we got a lovely wee bourbon there, and you want to celebrate on the 14th of June. Okay, we've got a 19-year-old grain here. This distillery is actually in the Glasgow area. Another shout out to my hometown. We have had a couple grains out the last couple of months, but they've been much younger. But something about a grain whiskey when it reaches a certain age, because you know it's almost a neutral spirit when it's young, so it takes a bit of time for it to develop flavour from the cask. But some of the best whiskies I have ever had from the society have been older grains. So unfortunately, we're not opening this today. This is always to give Richard a hard time about. Come on, let's just open it. But so this is a bourbon cask, then it's been moved into a first fill STR Barrique. It's called Coffee and Cake from G10.44. So if you're a fan of grains, I'd highly recommend this one. Want to tell us about STR?
Shave, toast, and recharge.
Yeah, boy!
I actually knew something for once.
So the other things we're going to talk about were, so talking about Glasgow, the first bottling that we had was from Glasgow area. But there actually is an event in the Bass Street venue on the 26th of June, and it's a Glasgow Distillery takeover. So if you're, I would highly recommend that. It'll be a great night. Do you remember we did that dark and stormy creme brulee?
Oh, that was really good. Yeah.
And that actually that was in the style of a bourbon,
because it was effectively Scotland's first bourbon.
Effectively, we didn't say that word. So. But I bought a bottle of that. It was
I think I just finished my bottle of that. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's still bottles of that available in the venue, so they might have that as part of the tasting on the night.
Oh, right, okay.
Logan's interested.
You just piqued my interest. I might be going to Glasgow. Yeah. Go west, young man.
Have you got anything coming up in Queen Street this month?
Yeah. Well, it will be next month. We've got a really good tasting.
No, it'll be this month.
Oh, it'll be this month. Sorry. Yes. Really good tasting with one of the senior sensory scientists from. That's another. Yeah. Senior sensory scientist.
Senior sensory
scientist from Whisky Research Institute. Oh, Jesus. Senior sensory scientist from the Scotch Whisky Research Institute.
So if you want to get your whiskey geek on, then
it's going to be really good fun. We're going to effectively be talking about where flavour comes from in whiskey, from all the way from barley through fermentation, distillation, maturation, into the bottle and the glass, how long it stays, like if it changes in the bottle. Pretty much everything you want to know about the science behind the glass. That's the
sort of thing that's great for someone at any level as well, because you can go as a complete beginner and just learn so much. But even if you've been in whiskey for ages, there's always new stuff to learn.
Exactly, yeah.
And I do feel like when you've got somebody, an expert in the room like that,
exactly, yeah.
everybody will be like asking questions.
Aye.
Yeah.
It's the second time we've done this tasting. I did do it a couple of years ago, and actually it was the first day I was allowed back after COVID. I suffered from parosmia or anosmia, whichever one is the loss of smell and taste.
Did you actually?
Yeah.
That's
And
not
it was
good for somebody who
It
works
was
in
the
whiskey.
first day I was allowed to come back.
Insured.
Yeah, but it was the first day I was allowed to go back into public. Was the day of that tasting, and I couldn't smell or taste.
And how long had you
It
had
only
it
lasted
for?
like 2 weeks, I think. But
Oh,
it was
okay.
weird. It was really weird.
Yeah, we just winging it.
Yeah, I just honestly just said to them, I was like, I can't taste anything.
That's strange.
But we even tested it. Like I ate a bit of an onion. The only way I realised was because I was crying. But yeah, couldn't taste anything.
You felt bad for the onion?
I did, yeah. It was bad.
I cut my finger cutting an onion the other day.
Oh, really? Yeah.
And I swore. And then later on, we were asking my daughter about what swear word she knows. And
She said the same one.
She got upset, and she said the word. And then I was like, "Oh, that's terrible. The kids are still using the word. It's okay if you hear that word at school, but just don't use it in front of adults or teachers, whatever." And then I realised it was me that she got the word from, because I cut my finger with a knife. And I shouted,
That's terrible, Calum.
I won't tell you what I shouted, but it was,
It was
effing, I was effing blinding. So let's move on to our final whiskey, if you guys are ready. I might pass it over this side here, because we need to get you...
Yeah, no, I've not done one yet. This is cask number 53.498. Why are you laughing already?
You're struggling already.
How am I struggling?
I would be nice to you, but you try and bully me, so please.
Yeah, but I've not even started yet. Come on. Have some respect.
I'm saying nothing.
Sort them out. Tour guide.
Oh yeah, come on.
You didn't. Yeah.
This is called All the Fields. It's 15 years old and it's been matured in a first fill ex-bourbon hogshead. Yeah, let's crack it open.
Let's do it.
57.2%.
So, I mean, in terms of, we've had some really complicated, but certainly the last one was quite a complicated story when it comes to the whiskey. This one's a lot more straightforward, and it's a distillery we see quite a lot. I mean, I absolutely love it, and I guess you and I will have I'm sure you will as well. You've probably got quite a good idea of what to expect from this distillery.
Well, we actually drove there last year.
Yeah, I was going to say.
You were in Ireland together last
year.
year.
We were on Ireland, yeah. But we couldn't get into this distillery. We just remember we were stuck in the traffic jam. And then the midges came in as well.
Absolutely hoaching. Oh yeah, the midges were horrific. That was like midday as well, so it was a bit early for them.
So I mean, in terms of size of distillery and the volume they put out, it's twice the size of the second largest distillery in Islay.
Wow.
So over 6 million litres a year. But I always think it's a little bit different. Okay, you've got Bunnahabhain that does peated and non-peated, but yes, when you associate Islay, you're thinking of heavy phenols, really medicinal, beach bonfires, hospitals and all that. Whereas I think these are a wee bit different. It's a bit of a lighter spirit. It can be a little bit more floral.
It's not as meaty, I think.
It's not as meaty, and it's more it's more of a smoke than
it's almost like heather smoke or something like that.
Yeah,
I always find it a bit ashy.
Ashy.
Yeah,
is a good way to describe it. But it's still a good kick of the smoke. It's just not that. I wouldn't say it was as medicinal or thick and rich as the other ones, but that's why I like it. I think it's so popular because it's sometimes the peat can be too much. And they've got quite tall stills, so I think that helps reduce some of the heavier sort of phenols. What? Have you had a wee swelling?
It's actually still quite sweet underneath the peat. I think.
Also like apple as well.
Because sometimes the peat is so strong that it kind of can mask a lot of the other flavour of the spirit, but this is why this is nice because you get a lot of freshness from it.
Like I think we often just want peated whiskey in winter when it's cold, but actually I think that's a summertime dram. This is...
You could drink this up a mountain.
You definitely can, yeah.
Yeah, I might add a bit of water to it. I got quite a nice sort of sweet cereal quality to it as well.
Like burnt flump.
Burnt flump.
What's a flump?
What's the marshmallow?
I mean, flump.
No,
it's definitely flump.
A flump. That's like a big
it's a bit flumpy. It's a good taste in it, actually. Flumpy.
Yeah, flumpy.
So we're enjoying this dram, basically.
Yeah, with water as well.
I think this could be one of my favourites, actually.
I really like this as well.
And it's really lasting.
What age was that again? 15.
Yeah, 15.
Hey, it's a belter. And peat's always really good to have at the end of the night because sometimes peat can linger a little bit. So if you were to go on and have something a bit lighter, you might still get a little bit of that peat. But
I always think it's really interesting to go back and try the unpeated stuff. I love going back.
Going back to the part of the tasting, yeah.
Yeah, that's something we haven't really done much on the podcast, but
you can do it right now if you want.
I'll do it right now. I'll join Logan.
I take it back. This is actually now Flumpy, the first one.
We've been infested by flumps.
I don't know which the first one was again. This one?
Which glass?
Oh, that's that one there. That's the first one.
Is it?
Yeah.
Are you back to the peat again?
Well, no, I've just done it in order. So this is the
mine's
second.
a bit. This is like This is nice and neatly put here, and mine's a bit little more over the place. Oh yeah.
But I always think like the first whiskey's often sometimes the hardest.
Well, yeah, especially if they're a bit younger and they're a bit lighter.
Yeah, I just think sometimes you don't appreciate them properly, and once you go through, come back, try them all again. I think it can
also time
they
the glass.
They totally change, don't they?
Yeah,
it's weird that the more you drink, the better they become. There's a
strange concept here. We've just,
I'll maybe ask the sensory scientist what the science is behind that. Yeah.
So maybe I think perhaps we should maybe wrap up this the Gin Outturn podcast. So it's been. Thank you so much for having us here.
Oh, you're very welcome
in your venue.
You're welcome back anytime.
We're not barred out with cans.
Not yet. Yeah.
Not yet.
No,
it's been a nice change of scenery coming here.
Yeah.
Certainly a lot easier for you to travel all the way up to Glasgow. So maybe we'll just take the show on the road from now on.
Yeah, maybe we should go to London next week. That's
a great idea. Simone, here we come.
Visit some of the international partner bars. There you go. Yeah.
Yep. So I hope you all have a fabulous gin. You buy your father a lovely present.
Yeah, get your summer shirts on.
Get your summer shirts on.
Or your all-season shirt. I mean,
your all-season shirt. We have had some nice weather here. Like it's lovely and sunny outside just now, but gin.
The rain is coming.
Yeah, it wasn't great last year.
Winter is coming.
No, I feel sorry for. Of course, the fresh eel's happening next week.
Yeah.
And it's due to be.
No, it's not.
Wet.
Well, we're leaving on Saturday, and it's meant to rain on Saturday, and it's not raining like 3 weeks.
I know.
Or something.
So
it's due.
Yeah.
Well, listen. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks.
Great to have you.
Cheers.
Sponsor.
Cheers, guys.